Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first webinar in this series of Bumps, Babies and Beyond. We're very excited to be bumping in tonight, and we've got some very special speakers with us. So my name's Alison Bartolo, and I'm from Healthy Munchkins, and I'd like to introduce to you Bryony Tilley. So Bryony is a brand new mum, which is very exciting. So she is living this, and she has used a lot of natural therapies to support herself through her recent pregnancy, and now she has a very beautiful baby to show for that. She is also a Pilates teacher and a massage therapist, so really incredible knowledge of movement and how that helps with holistic healthcare. She's also a silver leader in doTERRA and the founder of Pay It Forward. And she believes that true health is a balance across the physical, emotional, mental and spiritual worlds. So it's wonderful to have you here, Bryony, and I'm going to hand over to you to introduce Heidi.
Yay, I get to introduce the lovely Heidi, so we're really happy Heidi's here. Heidi's a mum of 3 and she is a clinical nurse with 12 years of experience in neonatal, which is just incredible. So she's got so much knowledge and so much to give us here today. She also has a grad certificate in special care of the newborn. She's a silver leader in doTERRA and the founder of Enchanting Little Treasures, and her passion and belief is babies with oils, because she believes that this is really, really where the goodness starts. She's currently touring Australia, running workshops, spreading her love, spreading her knowledge. So, you can always get in touch with Heidi, and, she can come run workshops for you and you can learn even more. So we're really, really happy you're here, Heidi. And I'm going to hand you over to Heidi, who's going to introduce Alison.
Thank you, Bryony. I am going to introduce the beautiful Alison Bartolo. She is her and her husband Anthony are the founders of Healthy Munchkins, an absolutely amazing team to be part of, and I have felt very lucky from day one. She's a wellbeing educator. She's a mother of 3 beautiful babies. Actually, they're big children, and they're gorgeous. She's a diamond leader with doTERRA and is exceptionally passionate about food, nutrition, and great gut health. Healthy Munchkins community is over 1,000 wellness advocates sharing their journey to wellness. So an amazing team to be a part of, and feeling very, very supported as being one of the wellness advocates.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Heidi. Brilliant. So we're really looking forward to starting this webinar with you, but it does come with a little bit of a warning that here in Queensland we're experiencing some pretty major and severe storms, which possibly have just passed. But if this webinar is interrupted, then we will re-record it and send you the replay. So we just apologise in advance if anything gets interrupted this evening. It was a bit unexpected. But today we are going to share with you some of the ways that we have used natural therapies to support us. So we're all very passionate essential oil educators, but there's many other things that we've used. We have actually had some quite different experiences throughout our pregnancies, so we can share some different points of view on this. So we're going to share today just a snapshot of some of the ways that we can support ourselves. There's obviously really, so many things that can happen, or ways that you can support yourself through pregnancy, but the things we're going to cover today, just to give you a highlight, are morning sickness, which is something Bryony and I can test to how severe that can be. Also an awareness of synthetic supplements and how you can support your body in the best and most natural way. Pregnancy pain, and then we're going to look at birth preparation and also after birth recovery and help and support with that as well. So I think Bry's going to take us away with morning sickness, because I think possibly she suffered even worse than I did, and is going to be able to help give us some advice on that.
Well, I don't know, it's hard to compare, isn't it? Yes, so without further ado, let's go to pregnancy sickness. I cannot call it morning sickness, because for me it was all day and all night sickness, but like you say, lots of people suffer in lots of different ways. It can be short-lived and an inconvenience, or it can be fairly debilitating, as I think both Alison and I found, and the thing that really helped me above all everything else was a really close friend of mine said to me very early on that we have it completely wrong in a Western society, in that your maternity leave should actually be the first 3 months of your pregnancy, not the last 3 months. Those first 3 months are where you need to rest and sleep and eat and rest some more and just really, really love yourself, like with no guilt and no pressure from outside. So the first thing is get on board with as many people as you can who are going to protect you and who are going to love you. I know that for about 20 weeks of my pregnancy, I didn't utter more than a grumble towards my other half, and bless him, he just kept bringing me food and water and putting me to bed when I needed him. So that is really what you need, no pressure from the outside. Other than that, the things that helped me, well, I was lucky enough to have the essential oils in my life when I was suffering from this sickness, so I did reach to them, but I reached to lots of other things. I'll be honest with you, nothing took it away, but I know that if I wasn't using the tools, then it would have been worse, because there were times where I went, this isn't working, and it was worse. Okay, so number one, sleep. I wholly believe that my body was very, very clever. It was making me slow down by making me feel sick. So I know that if I didn't go back to bed during the day, that if I didn't rest, that I would feel worse. And sometimes I even didn't go to bed. I lay on the sofa, watch telly, and I would get a cracking headache because my body was going, no, I don't want you to watch telly, I want you to go to bed. So then the only thing I need to do is close my eyes, go to bed, and I would feel heaps better. So lots and lots of sleep, lots and lots of water. I can't stress it enough. In my water, I was putting ginger, maybe making ginger tea. I was also putting in their digestive blend and lemon. So that's 2 essential oils that we use, the digestin and the lemon, and putting them in water. And I was just supping them all day long. So it was getting that into my body and helping me hopefully to ease the nausea a little bit. What else did I use? I used these wristbands. I don't know whether you can see those. So I've used them before for travel sickness, but they definitely helped me with the nausea. And yeah, other than that, I was using peppermint. Peppermint's sometimes really good for taking my nausea, and I was just sniffing that out of the bottles, taking it with me in my pocket. So there are a few things you can come to, but I honestly believe it comes so much more back to sleep and your body just telling you what you need, which is sleep and water. So go with that and see how it goes. I know, and I think Alison would agree that if I avoided the sleep and the water, if I didn't have enough of it, I would feel worse. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that from my experience is exactly that, was actually eating. So even though the absolute last thing I felt like doing was eating, if I did force myself to eat, I would actually feel better. So if you can,
absolutely
force yourself.
Yeah, it's so true. And all I would reiterate again is, even if it doesn't take the sickness away, so if you are suffering with it at the moment and you think, this isn't working, I still feel sick. There were times when I definitely felt, I wouldn't say I felt better, but I stopped myself feeling worse. Let's put it that way. So it is still helping you, even if it's not completely taking it away. And it's hard to accept that sometimes, where you just want it gone. But, just to know that it is helping you, even if it's not gone completely. I think I'll move on to talking about supplements in pregnancy, because this kind of links in very, very easily. I used to be a big believer that supplements were a big waste of time, big waste of money. But we know that when it comes to pregnancy, lots of people advocate supplements just to make sure that you're getting the nutrients that you need, so that you have the nutrients for you and for the bub as well. Number one, hang on to the fact that baby will take whatever it needs from you, and it will always be nourished as long as there is food coming in. Unfortunately, it's you as mummy that is left with whatever dregs are left, so that's potentially why you get sick. So that's what Alison said, keep eating. It will hydrate your baby and you will be left dehydrated, so drink. But supplements, going back to them, it comes to energy as well. If there are supplements that I definitely took, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to do pregnancy without them. I don't know how to do motherhood without them, because from an energy point of view, and again, that comes back to what is left. If there's nothing left for you, then how do you carry on living your everyday life? How do you get out of bed in the morning? You might be all right with enough nutrients to breathe in and out, and potentially walk to the toilet, but to get up and do all the things you need to do and run and jump about. I mean, I was teaching Pilates throughout my pregnancy, so there was definitely a good lot of energy that was needed. So what I will say to you is that one of the reasons that I advocate the supplements so much is because I used to believe that supplements were a waste of time, until I did a bit of research, and I found out that even with the best, most balanced diet in a Western society, we can hope for 40% of the nutrients that we need just simply from our diet. And that for me was a staggering a bit of information, and that is purely down to factors outside of your control. So how nutrient rich the soils are, you know, environmental depletion, all that kinds of stuff, farming stuff that you can't, you know, we can reach for organic veggies and all that kind of stuff, but even with the best diet in the world, yeah, there's still maybe things that are lacking. So in-step supplements, and this is where I put a little asterisk and I say to you, think about the supplements you're taking. Sometimes in the past, supplements just haven't worked. They haven't helped with what I've wanted them to help with. And I wholly believe that that's down to the synthetic nature of them. So when it comes to the supplements I take are doTERRA's Lifelong Vitalities. And I took them previous to pregnancy. I took them all through my pregnancy, and now I wouldn't be without them, certainly into early stages of motherhood. The great thing about them is that they're bioavailable. So basically what that means is that you have a limited amount of time to get those supplements, those nutrients inside your body, and that is the time that it takes for them to pass through your gut. That's the limited amount of time that you have. So what doTERRA do very cleverly is that they make them bioavailable. What this means is that they add certain things to the supplements. They add a yeast so that your body recognises it as food. They add in essential oils and digestive enzymes so that the nutrients are already kind of being digested from the minute they enter your system. And they also emulsify the nutrients so that means they can seep through your gut wall quickly. And without getting too scientific on you, you can see how that's going to speed up the process of absorption within your gut, and that's going to mean that you absorb more of it. The last thing you want to be taking is a supplement that races through your body and comes out the other end, and what I used to describe as expensive wee. What you want is a supplement that is designed to get into your body, and that is why I believe that doTERRA supplements, you know, do help with energy, they do help with nutrients, and, you know, they're there to back you up from, you know, dawn till dusk, I should say. So yeah, I literally wouldn't be without them. And I think Alison's going to talk a little bit now about folic acid.
Yeah, definitely. So I know it was something that was really important for our family, because we have a number of members of our family who have spina bifida. So this is neural tube defects, you know, where the spine doesn't develop properly within newborns. This is a really important thing that we need to address, and if you speak to your doctor or health professional, they will tell you that you need folic acid, and that's one of the key reasons that a lot of people do actually take supplements, is to make sure they're getting that additional folic acid into their bodies. Now, when I took pregnancy supplements, it was before I had really gone very far on my wellness journey, so I just bought the stuff that was available at the store. I didn't understand the difference between bioavailable, which is like a food format one, and the synthetic ones that are available in the shops, and I actually used to vomit them out every single day. So I feel like now my body maybe knew better than I did, than my brain did, and I'm actually grateful for that, because I don't actually want to have a whole load of synthetic stuff in my body. So one of the really important things to know about the difference between folic acid and folate is that folic acid is actually the synthetic version of folate, and folate is the version that is in foods, naturally occurring in foods. So I don't know if you know this, but actually synthetic folic acid is added into many of the a lot of flour and breads that we buy, and also cereals. So certainly in the US and Canada, and I believe in Australia and now in New Zealand as well, they're foods that are required to be fortified with folic acid in our countries. So all plain, fancy and sweet breads, rolls and buns, bagels, focaccia, English muffins, flatbreads made with yeast and flour mixes, or flour for domestic bread making, all must contain folic acid. So we are, as a society, being fed this, and the reason for this is because of these neural tube defects, and they, you know, want to make sure that pregnant women are receiving this, but actually it's in this completely synthetic form. So many health professionals may not even know the difference between that. They believe it's essentially the same nutrient, but there's a really an important distinction between the two. So for women past childbearing age, and for men in general, excessive doses of the synthetic form of this nutrient are not necessarily, and are actually now showing to be harmful in long-term effects. So in the Journal of Nutrition, volume 136, issue 1, in January 2006, pages 189 to 194, if you want to look it up, there's actually an article on this and how it's actually, there's a link to cancer where it's not processing in the body properly. So when you have the natural form, the folate, It's called THF, which is tetrahydrofolate, but anyway, they call it THF. That's metabolized in the small intestine, but folic acid actually undergoes its initial reduction in the liver, and that's where it's building up. So there's a very low activity of the enzyme which breaks it down. And that combined with the very high intake of folic acid that we're receiving from, whether it's supplements, but also in all these foods that it's being added to, is resulting in unnatural levels of unmetabolized folic acid entering the systemic circulation. So this is, something we need to be really aware of. Funnily enough, if you buy organic bread, then it doesn't have to have this folic acid added to it. So I want to make sure that I'm taking a supplement, certainly if I was pregnant again, which is not happening, by the way, that I would have one that would have folate in it as opposed to the folic acid. So the supplements that I'm on permanently is the same as Bryony, the Lifelong Vitality. So they come in a pack like this, and these, of course, they have folate as opposed to the folic acid. So the recommended amount of folic acid for pregnancy is 400 micrograms, which is the exact amount in this. So folate. So this is the perfect thing for you to be taking through pregnancy, and not in pregnancy as well, because the folate isn't going to cause you an issue like the synthetic folic acid would. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an understanding of why we want to kind of really avoid a lot of the synthetic supplements during pregnancy.
Sorry, let me just jump back in and say that, of course, do your own research, do your own, like I went to my midwife with my Lifelong Vitalities, with a kind of a death grip on them, going, don't take me off them because I'll hate you forever. But obviously I checked them out with her, and she did this big long pause where she looked at the back of each bottle, and then she looked at me and she went, well, they're the best supplements I've seen for pregnancy ever. And I just said, good, to put them back in my bag, and didn't ask any more questions. But, so, by all means, check them out. Make sure that you are happy. It's your body and your baby. So make sure that you're happy. But, from the advice I've got, certainly, they're all good.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, they are what the Essential Midwife recommends. So that's a book that is fantastic for pregnancy. There it is, right on Bryony's screen. Don't know if you can see that, but is it say Essential Oils for Pregnancy, I think. So yeah. She is a qualified midwife, and she goes through a whole protocol. She actually does have different recommendations to other people. So again, exactly like Bryony's saying, do your research, do what you feel comfortable with, and just take that ownership of your own healthcare. So Bryony, would you like to carry on talking about pregnancy pain and how you manage that throughout your...
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the other two are going to definitely jump in, but obviously because I'm the one who's had the baby recently, and I'm the one who had my oils and was kind of further down my wellness journey potentially when I had Bella, you get quite a lot from me today. So being a Pilates teacher, number one, I advocate movement above everything. Keep moving during your pregnancy. Like I said, bear in mind that your first 3 months are your maternity leave 3 months, but certainly later on, right up until birth, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. You need to be able to move in order to get your baby out. You need to be able to get into positions in order to get your baby out, and we all know that hands and knees, squatting, letting gravity help you. I teach antenatal and postnatal pregnancy, and I spend a lot of time doing squats in my antenatal pregnancy to get those hips open, to get you strong so that you can support yourself. Obviously, make sure that you've got a decent teacher who knows that you don't want to be doing loads of sit-ups or curl-ups or anything of that kind, working your abdominal muscles, because that's the bit that you're going to need release on. But you'll also in real, with real love, you'll need help in releasing your pelvic floor as well. Especially women hold a lot of tension. When you've got a baby and there's even more tension in your life, even more stress. And the one thing that happens is that your pelvic floor lifts up to the roof of your mouth and into your eyebrows. And that's the bit that you need to be able to let go of so the baby can come out. There is a big, we're going to get onto birth preparation in a minute, but there's a big thought in the world that, labour is not painful. It's just something that has been instilled into us through society, that birth is painful, and so if you go into anything expecting it to hurt, then guess what, it's probably going to hurt. But a lot of that is to do with the fact that we are trained to not let go of that pelvic floor, and if you can let your body do what it's designed to do, then it will help you. It will do all it needs to do. You don't need to be involved up here so much, and that is what a lot of the movement that I teach is about. I'm also a massage therapist, so massage can be seriously helpful when it comes to pain. The movement will help the pain as well, because obviously there's lots changing in your body. Again, with massage, I would say find somebody that you trust, find somebody that's potentially trained in pregnancy. You know, we work around it as massage therapists. You know, obviously you can't lie on your tummy so much towards the end, but you know, you can always be on your side. But massage can be super helpful. I used, definitely for pain relief, towards the end, as recommended by Essential Midwife, I used the Soothing Blend rub. Now, previous to pregnancy, this is your Pilates teacher's best friend, massage therapist's best friend. Achy lower back, this is always what I go to. So I definitely used this towards the end of my pregnancy. It does have wintergreen in it, which is one of the ingredients that I researched, which, you know, is how can we put this? Some places is specified to watch out for. However, like I say, the Essential Midwife, who I trust with everything, recommends it throughout her book. So I used it later on in pregnancy. Early on in pregnancy, I was using a mixture of frankincense, lavender, and their massage blend, which has marjoram in it. And those three, especially together, are really soothing, really comforting. I was putting them with Epsom salts in the bath. So, you know, if you are pregnant and it's your first one, have as many baths as you can with Epsom salts and lavender, because trust me, when the baby comes along, there's not so much time for Epsom salt baths. So get them in. I was pretty much having a bath every single night of my pregnancy. Do it. It's all about self-care. Remember, looking after yourself. What would I say? The other thing I want to say to you as well is that this one came into its own during labour itself. So in my labour, I didn't have so much contractions like abdominal pain. I had kind of hip discomfort, I guess, because I'd been on hands and knees for what felt like about 4-5 days. But this was what I went to. So this is all I used. I didn't even have gas and air. I had a home birth. So I didn't have any other pain relief but this. And when I say that to people, they go, oh yeah, do you know what? I do want that for my back pain, actually, because if it helped you in labour, then it's quite likely to help my back pain at the end of the day. But it is absolutely genius, I promise you. So, you know, if it's the only thing you get that. That'd be all I would say to you. But yeah, other than that, use movement, you know, and I mean, Heidi's going to go on to talk, Alison's going to go on to talk about birth prep, but when Heidi talks about kind of the actual birthing itself, like she will say, you know, it's all about position, isn't it? It's all about movement. It's all about working with your body. Your body knows what to do, so just let it, you know.
I'm just going to talk about, there are a lot of controversy in using oils through pregnancy, and please feel free to do your own research. And I agree with Bryony and Alison. My go-to when I talk about antenatal, postnatal is the Essential Midwife. So I'm just going to put that in there. Stephanie Fitz, she's been a midwife for over 25 years, I think it is. She's written a beautiful book. She's also gone into a great kind of like flip chart, and it tells you certain things. Sorry, it's very terrible to look on a video, but generally regarded as safe in pregnancy. Stephanie says that your go-tos are your ginger, your grapefruit, your invigorating blend, which is your citrus bliss, joyful blend, lavender, tea tree, orange, respiratory blend, and sandalwood as ones that you can use throughout your pregnancy. Definitely stay away from clary sage until you're actually term. And clary sage is used in the birthing suites to bring on labour. So we certainly don't want to start that in the first and second trimester. The other one is, and so part and parcel is wintergreen, but Stephanie Fitz again says something different, where she actually, just like Bri said, talks about using the Soothing Blend as part and parcel of muscle and pain support, along with the Tension Blend and frankincense and lavender. So staying around that. The other one is Aroma Touch. So your substitutes for wintergreen and clary sage: frankincense, lavender, marjoram, and Roman chamomile.
Thanks so much for that, Heidi. That's fantastic. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can mentally prepare for birth preparation. So this is something that I'm really passionate about. I accidentally fell into preparing naturally for birth, basically because my best friend was getting married in an overseas within 2 weeks of me giving birth, and if I had the spiral of intervention where I didn't have a natural birth, I wouldn't have been able to fly, and I wouldn't have been able to be maid of honor. So I was really, really determined to have as seamless birth as possible, perhaps not for the best reasons or intentions, but actually learning about the power of the woman during birthing really is what started my whole journey to wellness. So I'm incredibly grateful for my perhaps less I don't know, altruistic way of getting onto my journey about it. So I went and asked the only person I knew who'd had a baby my age and said, if you could invest all your money into anything that would help you have a natural birth, what would that be? And she suggested hypnobirthing. So I was in the UK at the time, and it's actually called natal hypnotherapy there. And so my husband and I, we went and did a course in that, and I just really learnt about how what Bryony was talking about, women are meant to birth. And when I learnt that women give birth in comas, so you don't actually have to do anything. In fact, the less we do and the more we can train ourselves to just relax and let what's going to happen, the less pain you're going to experience. So the more you have fear, the more your muscles contract. You have muscles that go this way and you have muscles that go this way. So if we're in fear, then these are contract, and it's going to be incredibly painful for anything to come out. It's going to be much slower. It's going to take so much more time. So if we can actually train ourselves to relax these muscles, which feels sort of counterintuitive, then actually it can be a really beautiful process. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't have support and help that we need, and certain people, do absolutely need to have medical intervention. So if that's you, then, that's what you need to seek. But it is really common to enter into a spiral of intervention that if we just took that power back, may not be necessary. So it really comes down to this mindset. And for me, I studied the Mongan method of hypnobirthing. So you can buy a book on that, and there are CDs that you can listen to. And it's really just training yourself to relax, which is a really great skill for motherhood, because sometimes you just really need to relax when there's crazy stuff going on. So there's breathing and relaxation exercises that you can do. One really useful one I learned with my husband was that if I was feeling panicky, he would hold me close to his body, like just wrap himself around me, and he breathed deeply and slowly. Then I would follow suit, and I would find myself just relaxing. And I've used that technique with my children moving forward, and that's really helped to calm them if they've worked themselves up. There's obviously massage that can help with that. Also dialing down. So one of the techniques we learnt was imagining you've got a volume control, and when you're experiencing the sensation of any contractions in your body, is just imagining that dial being turned down and actually having your partner say the numbers coming down, and it just allows you to just relax. We had a little trigger that we would say 3, 2, 1, relax, and we just practiced it over and over throughout pregnancy. But it's actually, saying the word relax, with your partner being there with you to support that, really just that's your only focus, is to completely relax through it. So it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but if you can get into a power mindset over a fear mindset, it really does make a difference. Certainly walking through labor, we were advised, when you get to the hospital, or if you're going to hospital, that don't accept the wheelchair, walk to the ward, because all of that movement is going to help the baby to come out much quicker. So take control of your body. If you can ask to wear your own clothing as opposed to putting on a gown, it again gives you that power back. You're not becoming a victim or a patient. You are really owning your own body, and breathing into that. So they're my little top tips. Obviously, it's a massive subject in its own, and everybody's situation is completely different, but I would certainly be investing a lot of my pregnancy into researching this side of things to really support you. There's other things you can do in terms of preparation with oils to prepare your area down there. So again, I would just look at the Essential Midwife and look at what you feel comfortable with, because that's something that we generally avoid using oils on our bits. But this might be a case where you might feel comfortable to use a very heavily diluted ratio to actually prepare the skin down there. So I'm going to hand over to Heidi now to talk about afterbirth and recovery.
So I think that it's really important to realise that as natural a process as this is, it's actually a massive impact on your body. And so delivering the baby and moving forward into a new journey, is really important for you to remember that self-care is huge. You've been through a very big journey to get where you are. So 9 months of beautifully growing a baby, and then a beautiful birth of your baby. And that's whether or not that's through a natural delivery or whether or not that's through a cesarean section, your body still delivers the baby, and your body needs to rest and recuperate for you to be able to take care of your newborn and any other children that you have if it's not your first baby. So first and foremost, which is something that, you know, all of us that haven't had oils for their entire previous to having children, it was a bit hard. So saying no, knowing your boundaries, things like having a gatekeeper, which we were just listening to a story of Brian, her partner, and basically, you know, having someone that's willing to shut the door on a family member or a friend and say, no, I'm sorry, she's sleeping, the baby's sleeping, there's no visitors allowed. Turning off phones, putting on the answering machine, turning off your mobile phone. As we've moved into a higher technology, people, you know, on social media, and for that short amount of time that a baby might need to sleep, they're not taking that time for self-care. What you think, oh, I'll just quickly jump on and message a couple of people, they'll be there when you wake up from your nap. So it's really important that you take care of yourself. Saying the biggest thing that people don't do is saying yes to the help that your family and close friends puts out to you. So saying, sure, you can help me do some washing or cook me some food, or can you run some errands for me? You know, just, they may seem like they're things that you're too embarrassed to ask for, but, you know, true friendship and beautiful family are willing to help you in any way that they possibly can. One of the biggest things which having oils has changed the way that I thought is immune protection. So our babies are born without an immune system, and it builds as they get older, and part and parcel of that is that by providing breast milk, we're actually transferring, we're protecting our baby without an immune system from our immune system. So our antibodies are protecting them. But another way to protect them is actually to make sure that you make your visitors and your family and yourself wash your hands before you're actually interacting with the baby. Simple things like cuddling the baby, changing the nappies and so forth. Keeping people away that are sick, and not having any fear or guilt associated with that. No, I'm sorry, you've got a sore throat, you can't come anywhere near us. The same for your partner. No, you have to go and sleep in the other bedroom while you're sick. Using On Guard, diffusing it topically on hand sanitizers before touching the baby is an amazing way for us to protect ourselves and our babies. Eating lots of healthy foods, getting lots of rest, drinking as much water as you can possibly tolerate, and asking for help from people, making it so that we're not so stressed. We're very tired as we raise our brand new babies. It's just part and parcel. They want to feed sometimes every hour. They want to feed every second hour. And if we're not recuperating in between all of those times, then we're a lot more likely to get sick. One of the most beautiful things that Stephanie Fitz talks about in her books is anointing a baby at its birth. And I just think it's the most amazing thing. And I so wish that I had been able to do that. Anointing a baby is basically as they come out into the world, they're born, you anoint them with frankincense, myrrh, and balance. And of course, frankincense is just the king of oils. And so what a beautiful way to start their journey into this world, by being anointed with frankincense and myrrh. Of course, two of the most beautiful gifts that were given to baby Jesus. And I just said today in one of my workshops, I wish that we'd be able to bottle gold as well, and then we'd have all three gifts. And so if we can touch base with our babies immediately, skin to skin with our babies, and then anointing them with frankincense, what an amazing way to start life in itself. Moving on to pain and delivery, and also afterbirth pains. Being sore down below, it's so normal after a natural birth. Lots of Epsom salt baths although Bri does talk about the time frame, the time factor can be a little bit hard, but it is about asking for that help and saying, I need to go and have a bath. Can you watch the baby? Or and in that Epsom salts bath, mixing in fractionated coconut oil, helichrysum, frankincense, tea tree, and geranium. Another thing that we've been spoken to about is doing freezing pads. So just putting a little bit of water through your maternity pad, and then making up a spray bottle with witch hazel, aloe vera gel, lavender, tea tree, helichrysum, frankincense. And then once you've frozen the pad, to actually spray that over the pad and use that. So you're not only getting a cooling sensation, but you're also getting a beautiful healing spray that will promote any kind of, will promote lots of protection for yourself from any infection risks, but also healing it as quickly as possible. After birth pains, we're talking about pains that are associated, and often they will come mostly, not always, but mostly with breastfeeding. And basically it's the way a woman's body works. The baby starts to breastfeed and so forth. The uterus starts to contract, and that's very normal. It's got to go from a big, watermelon size right back down to a little tiny plum size. And what we need to do is, and that's helped along by the hormones produced and the sucking mechanism of breastfeeding. Now, along with those pains, and we need to be very careful about when we put them on, we certainly don't want to be breastfeeding a baby and having like ice blue over the top of it, but ice blue is certainly something that can be put on at lavender, frankincense, and they will help with the afterbirth pains. Helichrysum is another one that will also help, adding it to fractionated coconut oil and giving yourself a very gentle massage over the top of your stomach. Moving on to milk production, basically allow your body just to produce, and it's very natural. And when the baby needs to be fed, it needs to be fed. And I always say to my mums, your body has an automatic reaction. It's all done by hormones. If your breast is empty of milk, the hormone production in your milk just says to your brain, let's produce some more. The baby needed it, it took it, now I'm empty, let's start again for the next time that the baby needs to be fed. Oils to support yourself in having a healthy supply of production of milk: fennel, clary sage, and basil. Eating the beautiful lactation cookies, and just trusting that your body will make it. It's very nerve-wracking. There's a lot of pressure put around women to breastfeed, and also to make sure that they've got this abundance of milk. And it's something we can't see inside of ourselves, but know that your body will produce milk. It's very natural, and that's just how it goes. And so supporting yourself, again, with a healthy diet, lots of water, lots of sleep, and not too much stress, and just feeding your baby when the baby is hungry. And now that can be every hour, every 2 hours, every 3 hours, and allowing the baby to take as much as it wants, whenever it wants, will just establish that beautiful production of milk.
That's awesome, Heidi. Can you share with us also maybe what you would suggest if we were experiencing baby blues or anxious or sad feelings after birth?
Yes, so it's really natural to feel like a failure. And it really is. I just can't point it out enough, and still to this day, I've done 12 years of neonatal nursing, and I can have a poor little mummy sitting in front of me at 36 hours of age. He's crying your eyes out, and the tears start rolling down my eyes. I go, oh, I'm so sorry. But it's so normal, and they can be laughing and crying at the same time. So offering up some Elevation, which is the joyful blend, it's just a beautiful oil, both topically and also aromatically. Also the invigorating blend, which is Citrus Bliss. And so they can also aromatically, topically, and they can take that internally. It's one of my favorite oils to put in my SodaStream water, and also just filtered water. It's just so beautiful. And as you're drinking it, you're not only putting it internally, but you're also aromatically smelling it in the glass bottle. So what better way can you get it into your body? Using lava beads on yourself. So either up high on the neck where, the baby's not taking too deep a breaths from it, because remember, all babies are nasal breathers when they're first born, or using it on your wrists in lava bead bracelets as well. And just supporting yourself with any of the citrus oils is great. And know that it is so normal to feel like you can't stop the tears from someone's turned a tap on, and you can be in 10 seconds you can be crying, and then 10 seconds later you can be laughing again, and another 10 seconds you're crying again. So it's all really natural, and it does pass. I promise it passes. Sometimes it's longer than others, and having lots of beautiful support around you and accepting as much help as you can.
Thank you so much for that, Heidi. There was one other thing that I know you were going to share potentially about just that feeling tired, obviously naturally after going through such a massive experience, and you've noticed some things that help with that. Would you mind sharing that as well?
So it's that hindsight again. I totally wish that I had have had lifelong vitality. Now remember that the normal thing is that your baby wakes you at every hour of the day, and you've probably been feeling that through your third trimester. And waking up to go to the toilet, other than the fact that it's pressure on your bladder because of the baby, it's also preparing you to get up and down and up and down when the baby's born. And so moving forward, you are absolutely exhausted in your third trimester. Then you deliver a beautiful baby, and then you move on to being absolutely exhausted because the baby's just keeping you up all night and all day. So sticking on with your lifelong vitality, it's an amazing supplement like we've all talked about. And also I love taking lifelong vitality and adding in Mitohit to Max, which is the energizing supplement that doTERRA has. And that's actually taken in the morning. And sometimes through the afternoon, you've either been up, you haven't had a nap, you've had a really big night, all things that are really normal when you've got a newborn at home. In the afternoon, drinking lots of water and supplementing with some citrus oils. One of my favourite, of course, is the citrus blend. So that's not only helping with, baby blues, but that's also helping you stay awake in the afternoon when all you want to do is fall in a heap, or substitute with coffee. And the other one is grapefruit is absolutely amazing. Put in your water in the afternoon, and supporting yourself with those oils also aromatically and topically.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So I think that covers all the things, just a snapshot of the ways that we can support ourselves from bump through to birth. And we're pretty excited to share with you how we can care for our babies in our next webinar, which is on the 21st of February. So for those in the UK, that's at 10 a.m. and those in Brisbane, it's 8 p.m. And we're going to be sharing more about sleep. So really how to support yourself and your baby with sleep, which is a big thing for babies. Also teething, some tummy pain. We're going to do some DIY next time. So we're going to show you how you can make your own hand sanitizer and your own baby wipes as well, so that you're being really, really gentle on your baby's skin. So just want to share with you some of the resources that we spoke about today to make sure that we covered them. So one was The Essential Midwife by Stephanie Fritz, and this is available on Aromatools, or in the UK from
Essentoils.co.uk.
Essent Oils, was it? Yep.
Yeah, Essentoils.co.uk.
Yep, so ESSENTOILS.co.uk. The Essential Midwife book is sometimes different recommendations to what's in the Modern Essentials book. So again, this is up to you to speak with your healthcare professional what feels right with you. But the Modern Essentials is also from Aromatools or Essent Oils. The Hypnobirthing book that I spoke about is available either on just Amazon or any Booktopia or any of those sorts of things. So if anyone doesn't have essential oils yet, then please just go back to the person who introduced you to doTERRA. If this webinar is the first place you found out about it, then contact one of us and we will help you. But they have been such a game changer for all of us in our lives, and lucky Bryony has actually had them in this early phase of her parenthood, which I'm super, super jealous of. So
me too.
Have another one.
No, 3 years, plenty more than enough. So yeah, our next one, babies, we're talking about on the 21st of February, and we're talking about beyond, so into toddlerhood and natural ways to support your toddler on the 28th of February. So we're really excited to share that with you. Thank you so much to those who joined us live here tonight, and for those watching the replay, hello, and we will see you all soon. Thank you very much.
See you soon.